Welcome to DABCC Radio,
where smart people listen.
Virtualization and Cloud Talk,
Featuring cutting-edge solutions from the hottest companies around the globe.
broadcasting from the DABCC offices in sunny Sarasota, Florida.
Surrounded by computers, books, and Legos.
A Microsoft MVP, Citrix Charter CTP, VMware vExpert.
And your host, Douglas Brown.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of DABCC Radio. We're back with another Citrix Ready episode, and really happy to be partnering with the Citrix Ready folks. And we talked about this in the first of my long series of Citrix Ready podcasts we'll be doing. And so we're really happy to be back with these guys. This is really great because they're bringing on their customers, and we can learn more about some of the premier Citrix Ready solutions that are fit just for your Citrix environments that are validated to work within your environment. And we have a Citrix Ready guy with us, Anil, and he's going to chat about it. Or he's going to add a lot of value within this podcast, chatting about what Citrix brings to the market, but also his experiences within dealing with validations and things like that. So really great to have him online. And then our customer for today is NRG Global, and they make some really neat testing in security and regressions. This is a phenomenal solution. And so with no further ado, I'll dive into this podcast and let our guest Sam, who is one of the main product managers over there and been with the company since its start, to tell you about NRG. I won't do it in the intro. That's just redundant, and I never do a good job. No. So, but Sam is the man. So let's, with no further ado, here's my interview with NRG Global, Sam and Anil from Citrix Ready. Okay, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. I look forward to this as always, and we're back with another Citrix Ready podcast. So, what do I say? Thanks for taking the time. On that note, we have a couple of you on the line, so let's get straight to it. And as always, my first question is, who are you? So let's start with Sam. Sam, who are you, and what do you do?
Hi, Sam Benihya. I am the product manager here at NRG Global. I used to be a testing consultant before I joined NRG Global, and I worked on many Oracle EBS implementations, mainly doing testing for manufacturing, HR, and of course eBusiness Suite. And I joined NRG when they first started back in 2000, and I was part of the first consulting team that specialized in testing.
Wow, 2000. That's a long time.
That is a long time. That's when NRG Global started.
Well, I'm gonna ask you about NRG Global in a little bit, but
Sure.
Because I want to, obviously that's the goal of the podcast, right? But I want to hear more about it, obviously. So I won't do that right now. Let's jump over to Anil. And Anil, what do you do, or who are you, and what do you do?
Hey, Doug. Thanks for having me here today. I'm Anil Kumar. I'm a part of Citrix Ready technical marketing team, leading the network and SaaS ecosystem of products. As a Citrix Ready technical marketing lead, I'm responsible for supporting technology partner companies like NRG Global, who are looking to integrate and validate their products and solutions with Citrix technologies. Prior to Citrix, I've worked with companies like Fujitsu and HP, where I've managed and supported large and small scale Citrix environments for some of the world's largest banking and finance companies as well. I hold a few Citrix certifications. I'm a huge football fan. Manchester United is my favorite club, actually.
Nice. I spent a fair amount of time in Europe now, so I'm learning about football. I even learned when someone says football what they mean.
Exactly, that's what I'm wondering here.
Yeah.
Okay.
The rest of the world likes football. We in America, we like football, but it's not really football.
Right.
So it's throw ball,
different.
and every now and then you kick it.
Both sports are really great,
Yeah.
football and soccer.
Yes. Okay, so that's always fun. That's awesome. Okay, so Anil, real quick, can you tell us about the Citrix Ready program? What are you guys trying to do?
All right, definitely, Doug. So as you already know, as Sam knows, we at Citrix have a very strong expertise in virtualization and mobile workspaces, right? And that's our technological forte, and that's what we really excel in. Most of our solutions empower our customers with instant access to applications, desktops, data, communications on any device, anywhere on any network, and on cloud as well. So as of today, our solutions are in use at more than 400,000 organizations across the globe. And with that kind of a number, you can surely tell our customers are distributed across all industry verticals with diverse technological requirements and using various different applications and devices which work on top of Citrix infrastructure. And this is where we come in, right? The basic premise of Citrix Ready program is to collaborate with top technology companies like NRG Global, who we have here today. And our aim mainly is to ensure that their products work in unison with Citrix products. So with whole new products coming in every day, with customers wanting to add more and more applications in their environment, it eventually helps our customers adopt to new products seamlessly, and it gives that added confidence to our customers to use our verified and compatible solutions, and that's what we at Citrix Ready program do.
That's perfect. So I have to ask, this certification, the verification program you guys have. Can you talk about that verification program and what that means to NRG Global products and of course their customers?
Sure, Doug. So I'll answer this in two different parts. So I'll talk about the Citrix Ready verification process first, and then move on to the benefits our joint customers get. Now at Citrix Ready, or Citrix Ready is a partner program where we verify third-party products and ensure their compatibility with Citrix technologies. This becomes even more crucial when customers or organizations like to scale their infrastructure. And to make this work, we ensure that Citrix Ready verified product undergoes detailed testing and verification. And this in turn helps the two technologies work in synchronization, so customers can have a smooth operation for their IT infrastructure. Now, NRG Global's testing suite of applications like AppLoader, App Verifier, App Verify, and AppsWatch makes testing of applications hosted on Citrix easy and very user friendly. So let me go back to the days when I was a Citrix admin, right? We used to get a lot of incidents raised from end users for application slowness issues, applications crashing, and whatnot. And since these applications used to be published via XenApp, all the incidents used to land in our Citrix queue. And you know the drill, right? We had to log into all these different application servers, run some queue farm load commands, and let's just say it used to be very difficult to isolate the problem easily. Sometimes it could have been a problem with the Citrix server, but most of the times it would have been something else, like the database crashing or some network glitch in the traffic, and many more. And you know it, the Citrix, since all these applications used to be hosted on Citrix, the Citrix used to get all the blame. And I really wished I had a product from NRG Global in our environment in those days. To do all the load testing and monitoring our applications and quickly tell where the problem lies. So with NRG Global certified as Citrix Ready, for our customers, it becomes very easy to test applications on Citrix and enjoy hassle-free adoption of products on top of our Citrix applications. So this means less call to the help desk and more productivity to our customers.
That's perfect. That's absolutely perfect. I've been doing Citrix for a long time, and back in the day, I wish I would have loved to have that, because you just know what works and what doesn't work, or at least what works, and that's just huge. That's huge for us. So, Sam, now's the time I want to learn about NRG Global. So you mentioned you've been there since the start. So you're about as good as anybody I can imagine to tell us about NRG Global. So what are you guys trying to do over there? Why was the company founded, and what's the goal?
Well, we started back in 2000, and the goal was to create an agile testing company, consulting company that specializes in testing. And Citrix was not the only product, but that software that we're testing. Obviously, from our background, we're testing Oracle, SAP, and most of these applications were also published on Citrix. And over time, and actually in 2002, 2 years later, we decided to start reselling testing tools, and we're mainly importing some tools from Europe. And as a consulting company and a software reseller, we really started seeing, we were living the issues ourselves on each project. It was a little bit complicated, and we had issues with the protocol-based and complex applications, talking to other applications, and so on. So we started thinking about creating our own product and how we would design a product that would actually that would be different, that would approach testing the way we thought was the right way, meaning looking at the application from the end user perspective instead of looking at the protocol, looking at what's happening in the back end. We wanted to create a product that would look at it from the front end and replicate how a person or user interacts with the application, and be smart enough as a user would be, and handle any unexpected events on the application and manage them that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. That's very cool. It's all about the end user to me.
Absolutely.
I came from the end user space, and I've never lost that. And Citrix amplifies your end user problems, right? And your end users, of course, complain. So, and Citrix is that front end component, or at least appears to be, right? So if we have solutions like yours, it solves, it helps us understand user experience. That's wonderful. So it's almost a rhetorical question in some ways, but I know you'll have more info for us, so I'll ask it nonetheless. What are the different business problems that you guys are trying to solve, and how?
Well, the first one was what Anil was talking about a little while ago. It is first to know if the call comes to the help desk. We needed to know if there's an application problem, a Citrix problem, for instance. Let's focus on Citrix, or a network problem, or just sometimes actually, and it still happens today, where users just have too many applications open on their desktop. Too many browsers or whatever it is. I do that myself, where I never close anything. And then they call the help desk and say everything is slow. So our application would allow, because we have, it's active monitoring. It has, this is the monitoring one. Let me step back a little bit here to say we have three main solutions. Okay. Today. We offer three main solutions, and all of them are, it can be acquired on-premise or SaaS. So you don't have to. You can use them on the clouds, and they're all certified with Amazon and Azure, Microsoft Azure, and all the big cloud companies out there. So the three solutions are: we have a solution for load and performance testing, and that's AppLoader, and AppVerify for regression and security testing. These are both solutions for pre-production environment. Once you go into production environments, we have AppsWatch for application monitoring, continuous monitoring, SLA reporting, alerting, obviously, and so on. So with our solutions, you can continuously test and reiterate. You can also use the same scripts across your testing life cycle. You can, because the technology, the underlying technology is exactly the same for all the products. It's just how to control the tests and the executions of the tests that's different from one solution to another. So your question was, let's go back to your question. I'm sorry.
No, you're giving me exactly what I want to hear. So this is wonderful. But the actual question that I asked was, what problems are you trying to solve? And in many ways, you answered that. But anything else to add to that?
Well, yeah. So going back to our days as a consulting companies, the challenges we were facing on each project is, even back then, the application were multi-tiered applications, complex protocols, lack of open APIs, and most importantly, wherever the testing usually is put off until the end of the project. So it's always short time frame for testing. So we really do understand the challenges that every organization goes through, especially for testing projects. And you add to that the fact that the Citrix protocol, ICA protocol, is smart streaming protocol. So it's just streaming images to between the client and the server. It's really hard to identify the application packets on the network. So all this complexity makes it very hard to test Citrix applications in particular. That's why we are a really good fit for Citrix, because our testing is from the front end. No matter what the backend is, whether Citrix, .NET, Java, you name it, for us, it not only it tested the same way, creating the scripts is the same way. There's no wrappers that you need to add in. It's the whole technology is focused on the front end. And most of our clients, actually, what they like the most about us is with the same scripts in the same test, you can, if you have any fat clients, you can test the fat clients and you can test the Citrix applications and web portal at the same time. So, that's really day in life. Exactly. You can do it exactly how your end users are going to use the application.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it's SaaS model also, or on-prem. And
yes.
Is there any differences between those two? Feature parity?
No. It's exactly the same. It's just it allows you, for the SaaS. It's easy and it's pre-configured for you. And we have organizations that do both. It's not. There's no real difference at all, except that it's from outside environment. And obviously, we've done a lot of projects because we offer also turnkey solutions where we can do from A to Z. We use our products and we have our consulting team that will do the performance testing or regression testing for you.
We cool.
Use VPN connections for that. I mean, if need be, if it's a closed environment, so we use VPN connections and we from Amazon or Azure mainly. I mean, we also work with other cloud companies, but the main two are Amazon and
So you guys don't just sell the product; you will also do the testing and give them back complete reports on everything, right? Recommendations on what to do, or how's that work?
Yes, we do, and it all depends actually on what the client wants, because we have clients that say no, just give us the product. They buy it or they lease it, and they do everything themselves. Obviously, we have support that comes with it. But we have clients that don't have the resources, or even big corporations, sometimes they don't have the resources to do the testing. And like I was saying earlier, short time frame, they just want to outsource the whole thing. We just finished a project actually with Spirit Airlines from the East Coast. They wanted us. They purchased the AppLoader load testing solution. I'm sorry. And they also wanted us to run the test because they were running out of time, and they needed to create the scripts around it, outsource everything to us. And after that, and we finished the project with them in 2 months. It was very successful. They're very happy. And after that, actually, they're gonna continue using it themselves. Or anytime they make a change, they will run their test themselves, and they will add new scripts and so on. So we help them go live. And now they're going to continue using it themselves, and that happens quite often when they want to get the expertise fairly quickly on the product.
Okay, that's great. So let's keep going down this path. So you have the SaaS solution, the on-prem solution. Let's take the on-prem solution. You mentioned it was a virtual appliance. Did I understand that correctly? So let's what do you do? You know, a customer says, okay, this sounds very interesting. I want to try this out. And they're like, well, I want to actually put it on-prem. So now what?
Well, no, it's not a virtual appliance. It's actually just a software that we install,
Okay.
and that we it works on virtual machines or physical machines. Obviously, we encourage our clients to put them on virtual machines because it's easy to move around or to change the size of the machine or add resources and so on. So for all our products, there's three components that come with them. The three solutions that we have. For instance, for performance testing solution AppLoader, we have the controller, and we have the scenario builder, and then the injectors. So scenario builder, that's one tool that's shared with all our solutions. That's what allows our clients to create scripts, to test the scripts before they send them to the controller, and then for performance testing, they can replicate those tests, create a test plan, and run a test for thousands of users, having them, like I was saying earlier, go through Citrix or web portal or fat client, for instance, and they can distribute the load and manage all that stuff. And then the portion of the injector, that's what's going to play back the scripts and emulate multiple users. For instance, at NRG Global, we don't call them virtual users. We call them our users, as in real users, because when the test is running, you can see actually the mouse moving and clicking, and it's like you're having cameras on users going through the application. And if you have a 10,000 user test, obviously you cannot see them all on one server. You might have 20 servers or 30 servers. It all depends on the resources on the server and the application and so on. So that varies. And our licensing is flexible enough so you can add servers on the fly, and you don't need to adjust the licenses for that or anything. So you can see the test running. So it's not a black box. It's not like you start the test and then you just see the reports or the graphs coming up. You see the test executing as it goes, as it's going through the transactions and through from one form to another, whatever it's doing. And one important feature of all our products, all three of them, if there is a failure, the software takes a screenshot of that failure.
Oh, cool.
So like what Anil was talking about earlier, and that would be mainly for our production environment, AppsWatch. If the script is running, there's a failure, screenshot is taken, and then an alert is raised, and you can see, for instance, the station that's in New York, for instance, was running this script, and it failed on step 23. And this is what the end user would have seen if they were going through these steps from that office, for instance. And it exactly gives you, instead of somebody calling the help desk and saying, I see this message database locked, or I cannot commit the transaction database, whatever it is, you have the screenshots before the end user calls the help desk, and you can address that issue right away. And in most of our projects, it turned out to be very invaluable, not only for the help desk, but also when I was talking about performance testing, before going live with the application, you can get those screenshots and give them to a software vendor if it's a software that was purchased. We have clients in the healthcare industry or retail or whatnot that go back to the software vendor and they show them the screenshots and say, okay, well, when we get to 500 users or when we get to 2,000 users, this is where we start seeing. There's no argument, so they can see exactly what the screenshots. I mean, you know what they say: an image is worth 1,000 words. Sure. So it's extremely helpful. It turned out to be very helpful in many projects.
That's very cool. I was going to ask you what type of data you give to the customer. What kind of report you dump for them.
Well,
so can you give me more information about the type of data that you guys spit out when all the the reports the job's all said and done?
Well, the reports would depend on the tool. For instance, if we go back, I keep going to performance testing because that's the main one before going live. Then there's regression testing and regression and security testing, and then there's the application monitoring. And I can go over all three of them more or less quickly, just to give you an idea on the report. So for the performance testing, you'll get the typical reports, meaning for each script, each transaction, you will have the average response time, the maximum, minimum, the 90th percentile, and then you will have also how many users executed that transaction, how many failed. I think this is basically the summary report. And then every single failure, you'll have a screenshot, you have the message about that failure, what user failed in that step, and also, of course, you have a summary so that you can see the number of users that fell on that specific step and whatnot. So that's and of course you have all the reporting, all the graphing that comes with it, the charts for the response time for every transaction, every subscript and whatnot. So that you have a plethora of charts that you can create on the fly. And we also do backup monitoring. So what we call backup monitoring, it's the regular CPU, memory disk, and SNMP monitoring, and nodes and DNS and stuff like that. So this is for performance testing. For regression testing, it's more or less the same thing, but it is more the software is designed actually to, instead of generating a load on the system, it's actually from a business process, a script that you create for a business process. You can test all data possibilities, and you can create that automatically. Our software, the controller, creates test cases automatically for you. For instance, something very simple that I'm making up right now is you just want to test logging on to Citrix. You create a small script that has username, password, and then you see, then you log on to Citrix. Then you can select the application to launch the Citrix receiver. So you can create this. It will take you really literally 30 seconds to create it, and then you send it to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I've actually seen this during the Citrix Ready verification process, and it was really easy, and no need to sit and write any scripts, and I really like the way it captures the screen of each click, of each mouse click, and the keyboard data being entered. So pretty cool stuff there in terms of that.
Now, can you imagine having that when you were an admin, Anil?
That's right, and also the load testing. I think that's a pretty cool software, right? So you know how the testing goes back in those days when we had to install applications and like 10 servers for, let's say, 500 users and test out the load. But the AppLoader is a really very intuitive tool which saves a lot of time and those kind of scalability testing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We really worked very hard on creating this solution and trying to think out of the box. And we had some late night meetings and we talked to a lot of our customers about how to create a solution that really not only simple, that allows them to test as much as they want, and it's very in right now with continuous testing. So it's the fact that we can create scripts very quickly. Our tools can be called from tools like Jenkins to run tests over and over and every night. And we actually had a webinar with Citrix not long ago when we have one of our clients who is Consumers Energy for the state of Michigan, that were calling AppLoader from Jenkins and are running scripts 300 load tests in less than 2 months. Wow. That was they were telling us that was the most successful projects. It was a Citrix upgrade for one of their most critical applications, which is the first responders. So when they have weather problems and they want to see where they're gonna send their technicians to restore electricity. This is the application that manages that. So it's the application that has to perform as its best when everything else is not working. So it is very crucial for them, and it was pretty successful. It was done with the Schneider Electric. They were the consulting company that were in charge of the upgrade, and our product AppLoader was very critical in the success of that project, and that's why they came with us on the webinar to talk about their experience with AppLoader and how easy it was for them. To go to what Anil was saying, to be up and running with the software, and they did it themselves. We did not do anything for them. We just were here for the support. When they needed something, they contacted us, but they did the whole project themselves. They created their scripts and they did everything themselves.
That's awesome. We'll put that webinar link, the on-demand version, in the show notes. So those out there listening, if you want to learn more and see it, the webinar, definitely refer to the show notes of this podcast, and there'll be a link there. Of course, we'll give you more information about where to find more resources at the end of the podcast, as always. But that's a great resource right there.
Okay.
Sam,
and I'm sure.
Whoop, please.
And as Sam was telling, I think Schneider Electric was just one of the examples, right? And
Yes.
Citrix solutions are used over 400,000 organizations as of today, and there are like 100 million users globally. So I'm sure there are a lot of other success stories which has already gone, and a lot's to come in.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
That is great. Well, this is awesome, Sam. Were you finished with explaining the three products? I don't think so. So,
well, no, and I will try to be quick because there's so many things to say about this product, and especially there's three of them. So, what I was saying is the quick example to continue on what Anil was saying. If we create a script, for instance, to log on to Citrix, you can send it to AppVerify controller, and then there you can say, okay, I have username and password, and then the application that I'm going to see. Those are the parameters of my script. And then what if I put the wrong username? And then you say this data element is wrong username, and I'm gonna call it whatever foo, and then I have a wrong password or application that does not exist or things like that, and you create those. The software will automatically create those test cases, and you can tell it what you want to see. For instance, if you put the wrong username, maybe you want to see a different error message that says wrong username. And if you put the wrong password, you want to see that message. So it tests also when the software should show messages that tell you, or what if you just want to show them wrong username or password, for instance, so that you don't say from the security standpoint, you don't want to show if it's the username or password that don't exist or things like that. So that would be created automatically for you. You just have to set the parameters very easily. You can even do it in Excel and import that stuff. And then from that one script, you can create 5, 6, or whatever it is, that the number of things that you want to test. And you tell it as soon as you put the username and you tab to go to the next field, I want to see this message popping up. And if the message pops up, it's going to be success. If it doesn't pop up, then that's a failure for that test case itself. And we talked about this because we're talking about the reports. Obviously, the reports will show you for each test case the response time, and if it was a success or a failure. If you want to see a screenshot, even in the case of a success, so if the message was the right message, it will take a screenshot also and save it for you. So and afterwards you can decide if we want to rerun the test or for the ones that just failed, or you can see the number of failures, which test cases failed, which group of users are responsible for those test cases, and so on. This is for AppVerify. Lastly, for AppsWatch, of course, you have your SLA reports because the tests are running at certain frequency. Let's stay with logging on to Citrix and launching an application, maybe getting the response time for how long it's going to take you to log in and launch the application. Then you want to log out and run this another 10 minutes later. So for that, you get the SLA reports like, the response time today compared to the day before, this week compared to the week before, this month, the month before. If there's any failures, like I was saying earlier, you get alerts with screenshots that are as an attachment to that alert that you can see on your mobile devices or your email and whatnot. You can see the alerts, you can see what step of the script, and you can add this all customized. You can add your own messages in there saying, yeah, with this failure, please contact Doug at this email address or please go to this URL to fix the problem. So one thing that is very important because our tests are at set frequency, and it's the same tests that are running whether just business hours or 24/7, you can see over time if the performance of your application, if it's slowing down or the application is getting better, you can react to them before they affect the end user. And also, if you upgrade, let's say you upgrade Citrix or you upgrade your application, you can compare with how the performance were before, because we're not monitoring every user. We have the same probes, if you will, that are running the same scripts. You can really project over time what's going to happen, and you can better analyze your performance from the end user perspective.
Very cool. Very cool. I was going to ask you about these scripts. I wrote it down, but in many ways you answered this question, but I still want to ask it nonetheless.
Sure.
You have, it seems like it's very simple with these scripts, but I imagine you can make it very verbose and complex, right? Can you talk, do you have common templates if you want to get more advanced, or is that just not required?
Well, this is an excellent question, because yes, and thank you for bringing it up, because I didn't have it. I wasn't going to address it if you didn't ask the question. Yes, the scripts are very simple, as we're talking about. The idea is to do scripting from the end user standpoint, and the idea also is to do anything, literally anything a person can do, meaning that not only you can go to let's say an icon, double click on it, wait for the application to open, then select the menu, click on it and type things and move on and stuff. But also if we have things that you can add in the script, everything like if conditions, loops, switch cases, and even these things that you can do programmatically, you can do in a program, C++ or C#, whatever. We don't use any programming language. You can record a script that records everything you do, and also afterwards you open that script and you will see a list of actions that everybody can understand. Meaning, like I was saying earlier, move mouse, click, type text, find image, click on image. But then you can add even the logical things like actions. We call them actions because you can just say if conditions, if the image is not found, then go look for another image, or open another application, launch another script, loop on certain things. But like I was saying, anything a person can do, and any conditions and any of that stuff that the script can do. And because it's done, you don't have to use any programming language. It's done in a certain way that anybody, any tester can do it without any prior training or any specific things. You don't need programmers to do that for you. And we also have very advanced on failures management, meaning that, what happened if a script fails in the middle of my Citrix session? Well, the software will automatically jump to on failure section, and first it's going to take an image of the failure, then it will go to the on failure section, and in the on failure section you want to undo certain transactions. Maybe you just want to log off Citrix and close your Citrix receiver instance, or whatever you want to do. You can actually call another script that does something totally different. Cool. So you can do that. Yeah. And that's why we not only successful with very popular in Citrix environments, and we're also in healthcare environments that use Citrix a lot too, because they require some pretty advanced on failures management and stuff like that. And it's all of this, like I was saying earlier, is done with just actions, and actions are kind of macros. I don't like to use the word macros because it's just it's not something that's pre-programmed for you. It's just set of actions that you can drag and drop, that you can easily say, well, if this happens, and do this, and things like that anybody can do.
Very cool. Very cool. So, Anil, you were part of this, or you said you saw or watched or the verification process. Can you maybe talk a bit about what you saw there, and what maybe also what you guys test and things, but that experience, what you saw relating to what Sam has just talked about.
Yes, Doug. So I was there during the verification process of NRG Global's application suite, like the AppLoader and AppsWatch. So it was really exciting to see how the AppLoader and AppsWatch are used to basically capture each and every action performed by the end user on a Citrix application. I mean, the coolest part was. The entire testing was automated, but even when there was an extra pop-up which could have appeared, like an Internet Explorer telling to block the pop-ups, the app loader was intuitive to clear those messages and capture the data. And let's say if there were like 100 users launching the application at the same time, the NRG Global's application used to find out which users, which were the failed sessions, and what was the reason behind the failure, etc. So those things were really good. And as Sam mentioned, we have a lot of healthcare customers who use Citrix, and do the downtime over there should be really less or zero, and AppLoader really helps those kind of environments to be up and running all the time.
That's great.
Thank you, Neil, and Anil. I'm sorry, and it is we in the company culture here, we really do take pride of what we're trying to achieve with our technology and our products, and it's great to hear that you appreciate what we're doing.
Absolutely. So on that note, well, you mentioned licensing, so I would love to know, especially since you have, the on-prem version and the SaaS model, how do you license it?
Well, for the performance, for AppLoader performance testing, it's a very simple license. It's by number of users that you want to simulate, up to what number of users you're trying to simulate, whether you're leasing the product or you're buying a license, perpetual license or yearly lease or monthly lease, whatever it is. There's a set price by a set of number of users. For the other two solutions that are the regression security testing and application monitoring, these are by, for the application monitoring is by number of probes, which we call them scenario stations, and those are virtual desktop that would be dedicated to monitoring from a location, whether it's within your network or any of your strategic locations, point of presence, that would be running scripts. There's no limit on number of scripts that you can run on the stations, but you cannot run two scripts at the same time. So they're going to queue up and they run at a certain frequency. And then lastly, the regression testing, the regression and security testing, that is by our tester, which is also a station that would run scripts, a virtual station that would run scripts. So I wanted to go back to what Anil was saying about the technology. I just want to add a few things here about our technology. We know that there were a few attempts in the past to have image-based technology for testing, and I know when we started back in 2000, there were some big companies that were doing that, but we tried it. It was cumbersome. It was hard to do, and a lot of people out there think that, well, yeah, if anything changes in the image, I have to redo all my scripts and all that stuff. First of all, that's not true with our tool, because even though you can record scripts easily, anything that changed, if you need, let's say if the image totally changed and you need to retake the image, you can go directly to that step and take the image. The scripts also are smart enough that you can play them in a mode where if the image is not there or it has changed, it will wait for you, it will tell you, and then it will help you update that image. Secondly, with our technology, it can find the image even if it moved. It doesn't matter where it is on the desktop, it will find it. If it changed a little bit, which means we have a tolerance that you can put in there and it will still find it. And also, if it changed colors, we can also, you can check a box and it will look for the image literally in black and white. And all these things actually are done. And lastly, you can also say you can have multiple images and it will look for them at the same time. So you can say in find image action or click on image, you can have different variation of the image. If you don't want to add a tolerance, I mean, what I'm trying to say here, there's multiple things that are there with the software, and the software is becoming more and more smart enough to suggest what the best approach, best properties, configuration that you need to do for it to find the images all the time. So there's all these things that are done so that it will find the image and you don't have to go through all the hassle that if something changed to redo it. And in the extreme case, like I said, if the image totally changed, it's extremely easy to go and retake that image without having to re-record the whole thing and do the whole process again. Lastly, also there's a stereotype out there saying, well, if this image technology uses a lot of resources. That's not the case with us. We spent a lot of time and energy and research on making sure that our tools use the minimum possible resources. Our image search technology, even though it's looking all over the desktop, is smart enough that it's really we take a less than 1% of CPU for those processes, and we have a lot of clients that have been using this for quite some time now. We also use read text in an image. We use OCR technology. We do a lot of things like that.
That's awesome. I mean, we just can't talk about it all in an hour, can we?
No, we have to do other. I'm liking this.
Yeah.
We need to do a podcast.
Definitely. Yeah, exactly. So, and then definitely, guys listening, if you're interested, well, we'll give you more info at the end, but head over to their website and check out the webinar too. But this sounds really, really interesting. So we're running out of time, so I want to jump to the last couple questions. But before we do that, is there anything really pressing that we left out before we get into the competition and future question?
Anil, you want to add anything?
I would really like to add. I would really like to say that NRG Global. We are really proud to have NRG Global as our premier level partners, and that's what we do, right? At Citrix Ready, we have about 27,000 verifications done already, and across all type of products compatible with Citrix, and NRG Global is one of those products which we like to showcase in our Citrix Ready marketplace.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, thank you. And one thing I want to add is that today we have over 1,000 clients that are using this technology, and we are actually seeing more adoption, more and more of our technology, and getting more and more clients. We are putting together some strategic partnerships with, Citrix. We've been working with Citrix for quite some time now, and we're also are very, very happy with this partnership, and I think we are offering our clients a good solution to help them with their Citrix implementations. We're partners with Microsoft, obviously, and Oracle, and we are expanding, and we're seeing a good, very, very positive feedback from our clients. We do understand that we are not as big as the HPs and so on, but we're partners with them as well, and we're gonna see this technology being adopted more and more because I don't see any way around it in today's applications and complex environments, and it just makes a lot of sense really to emphasize more on the testing and monitoring from the end user's perspective. And we have a lot of clients that still use protocol-based technology, which we think that it's there to stay. We're not here to replace protocol-based technology for testing or monitoring. I think we complement that technology and we add another dimension to monitoring and testing, and give a very crucial metric to our users to understand how the end users are actually experiencing the application and how they're interacting with the applications.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I mean, it's a no-brainer today. If you want to do things properly or even semi-properly, to test your environments, and sounds like just a phenomenal solution. So that's great. Let's jump into the last couple questions. Real quick, competition. There's always people that say they do what you do, and they're better than you, and blah 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 blah, right? So why? This is your chance to explain why should we care about what you're doing versus the guys that are in competition with you.
Well, this is a very tricky question for us because, first of all, I was talking to Gartner not long ago, and according to them, because we were having a hard time positioning ourselves versus a competition, because we really don't. We are the only company that we know, according to Gartner too, not just us, that offers a holistic solution for the life cycle of the application, because not only we do performance testing, and we do performance testing, regression and security testing, and application monitoring. And a competition that we see competition on each one of these layers, or we have competitors like LoaderRunner for performance testing. We have a competition for APM, a lot of APM applications with application monitoring for AppsWatch, but we are the only ones that do all the life cycle of the project. Now, for direct answer to your question, I think our story talks about how the approach we taken to our product, to designing and creating our products, is the fact that we were a consulting company, that we were a reseller. Then we designed our products while we were still working with our clients and understanding what they need, and us trying to see what we want in the product. We didn't design a product and then try to find a market for it. We were designing it as a consulting company, as a software vendor, to see what the clients need. And we took our time. Obviously, we've been around for 15 years. We took our time to get this technology to be almost perfect. It's never perfect. There's always room for improvement, but we really think that it is great where it is today, the technology.
Well, that's the perfect segue to my last question, and that is the future. So if it's not perfect, of course, like you said, nothing's perfect in this world. Where are you going with this? What can we expect from you guys in the future?
Well, we wanted to be smarter and smarter. We wanted to get our motto. It's to get the software to propose things to the tester, to get more templates ready for specific technologies. We are adding more and more things specifically for Citrix. It doesn't mean that today it doesn't do it, but we just embarking them with the product based on our experience. So now there are certain things that the users will put in there. They can configure it in the software, but we will add more suggestions to the product and make it smart and make it propose things. And we are go into a broader market, not just to today the early adopters are using our technology, but we're seeing more and more demand out there for our technology, and we are experiencing growth as we speak, and I think more maybe today the people that can listen to this podcast, that might be the first time they hear about NRG Global, but we think that in 6 months to a year it's going to become more common to know about NRG Global and hear about us from a lot of other places.
You got it. Well, that sounds great. That's absolutely great. Just more of the same, just making it better and better and better.
Absolutely, yes.
So on that note, my very, very last question, the easiest question I'll ever ask, and that is, if somebody wants to learn more, what do they need to do?
Well, because technology is easy, so we are encouraging our clients and prospects to request a free POC. So for us, actually, it does not cost us anything. That's why it's a free. So instead of doing a demo and showing them in our environment how the application worked, any of our products, it doesn't matter which one they need or all three of them, we can do it in their environment, and in about an hour we can install the product for them. We can create scripts in their environment, and we can show them how it works. So that's why on our website you can go to nrgglobal.com and just request a free POC, and we'll be more than happy to assist you with that. There's also a lot of videos in there if you want to see before, to make sure this is what works for you. You can check out the videos, you can check out the webinars, and you can just pick up the phone and call us, and we'll be very happy to assist you with anything you need with your environment.
And NRG Global is also a featured product in our Citrix Ready marketplace. So if you visit citrixready.com/ready, you could find NRG's AppLoader as one of the featured products, which mainly means it's one of the top products used by our customers, and that's what we do at Citrix Ready, right? I mean, with over 100 million customers, with diverse range of applications used in their environments, it's really important that we have a website where customers can really come in and look for products which are compatible in their Citrix environment, and that's what we showcase in Citrix Ready. Some really cool products like NRG Global's AppLoader and other applications.
I'll go ahead and give you guys the last word, and we'll call it a show. Sound good?
Good.
So, Sam?
Well, thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to having other podcasts with you. And I hope that there's so many things to talk about. I hope that at least I gave a good idea on how our technology works and what we can do. And I'm looking forward to talking to your listeners and answering any questions, whether myself or somebody else here at NRG Global. And I'm looking forward to many years in the partnership with Citrix, and I like working with people like Anil and the team at Citrix. They're really great.
Yeah, they are great, aren't they? Anil,
yeah.
Last word?
Yeah.
Again, thanks very much, Doug and Sam, for having me here in this podcast today. And again, we are very proud to have NRG Global as our premier level partners. And again, Citrix Ready is a partner program where we showcase and recommend very cool products which are compatible with Citrix, like NRG Global's application suite. So if you'd like to know more about our program, join our program, please visit citrix.com/ready or drop an email to citrixready@citrix.com.
Perfect. On that note, that's the show. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that concludes another successful podcast and another successful Citrix Ready DABCC podcast. And we're going to have tons of these for you. And I really like it because I really like how Citrix Ready adds value to it, too. They just don't add value to the partner community and to you guys, the listeners, the consultants, the customers, what have you, right? but now they're adding value to my podcast show. This is great. So I just absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So this is our second, and we have many more coming for ready for you. Many more in the future. We have many more in the future. And so definitely stay tuned. And on that note, I want to thank again our main guest, Sam from NRG Global. Guys, this is really interesting and really amazing technology. So definitely check this out. Head on over to their website and learn more. Go ahead and do the free POC. I mean, you can't hurt, right? That's really powerful offering right there. So check that out. And on that note, what else do I say? But thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Some plugs for me. Definitely head over to our new website, videos.dabcc.com. Again, that's videos.dabcc.com or just dabcc.com and click on the videos tab. It's a whole new site where we feature and we curate and surface just some amazing videos. The search engine on there is phenomenal. I actually paid a lot of money for that search engine. So it's a really enterprise grade search. Which will help you really dive in and find some great content of what exactly what you're looking for. And we have almost everyone in the industry in there. So head on over there, check that out, and I think you guys will really like it. And of course, hit dabcc.com. But most importantly, if you like this show, tell a friend. This is how I don't have ads. I'm not, doing TV spots on DABCC radio or magazine articles and things like that. So we grow via you guys telling your friends and your colleagues that, about the show. And we are number one on iTunes for cloud and virtualization. And we've been around for a long time, 9 years now, doing podcasting, and really, really love it. And we have great guests on like Sam and NRG Global. And now I'm very happy to be working with the Citrix Ready guys and doing these podcasts with them in the Citrix Ready community, customer community. So great stuff, absolutely great stuff. On that note, thanks everyone for listening to the ABCC Radio.
Can you say DABCC?
DABC.
Say it again, DABCC.
DABC.
Can you say it again, DABCC?
DABC.
How about DABCC?
DABC.
DABCC.
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 DABCC.